want to focus on the things that have made us good all year long, and intensity that they can't match. And the other thing is the ultimate disrespect is when somebody takes what's yours. And this is our game, so that makes it personal. Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
I need 60 minutes. 60 minutes to me. 60 minutes. No business, no mercy. Nothing but stop bubble. You got me. We're going to ring the bell. We're going to ring that championship bell. Ding, motherfucking dog.
Here comes the pressure. Penix fires over the middle, and it is intercepted. Mikey Sandristil going the other way.
The legend of Mike Sandristil continues to grow.
JJ takes the snap, flips the ball to Roman Wilson after he takes a knee, and Michigan, the Wolverines, have won a national championship.
First and goal. Mahomes flings it. It's there! Hardman! Jackpot! Kansas City!
This was the Andy Reid special we talked about. He was saving all day. He's going to fake a motion to go across. And at that moment, he turns and goes back. Hardman, who they didn't have, right?
On this touchdown throw to Mecole Hardman, who started the season as a Jet.
And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
Last week we said in the locker room, nobody but the guys in that locker room knew how good this group can be. Now the whole damn country knows.
Hello, everyone. Huddle Up Podcast. We are live. It is our first live show of 2025. We're glad to be back with you. Thank you for sticking with us through the holidays. Make sure you are following along with us on all of our social media. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Blue Sky, Twitter, TikTok at Huddle Up Podcast. We are on Instagram at Huddle Up Podcast Inc. We're
All right. Well,
hello.
Jim will be here.
So it wasn't me. I thought it was me at first.
I did too for a second. I actually we actually bailed out of the thread because
yeah.
Let me. So I'm Mikey B. Ernest is here as well.
What's up?
It is the three of us for the show this evening. Devin, hello. What's going on?
Hi, Devin. How you doing, bud?
Jim will be back in a moment. Once Jim is back, we'll figure out everything on that regard. So as you can see, our social media pages, YouTube, Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, and on Twitch at Huddle Up Inc. I don't know how to. I don't think I can get this off because it was on Jim's computer. So you will not see our lovely faces for right now because, well, I don't actually know how to do that.
Yeah. So it'll be like radio then for a little bit, like old school radio for a little bit.
Yeah, you're gonna have us
faceless show for the time being.
Yeah, faceless show until Jim gets back on here. We do have a chock full show for you guys tonight. We will preview the semifinals of the college football playoffs. We will also preview the first round of the NFL playoff slate as that has been set. We'll also talk. I think Jim had a couple of other topics in here. Let's see. Let me get to the rundown because we actually do have a run sheet. We will go over. Ernest figured it out.
Yeah. I went through the assets here. And,
I was literally just all right, I'm literally just going to talk, and if it works, it works.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll talk about the takeaways from the quarterfinals. We'll also talk power rankings.
Sean goes, "Oh God, EJ out of host. Go get that thing live."
Oh, don't worry, he's got a host, boys and girls. It's me.
We're good.
We'll obviously talk about the power rankings as Tool Time takes a little bit of a change as we will rank the 14 remaining teams in the NFL playoffs, and then obviously we'll close this thing with Lock It Up. I don't have a soundboard, but I guess let's get to the start of it here with what did we learn? Ernest, you can go first as I will try to.
What I'm learning, well, we haven't been on the show in about 3 weeks, maybe longer, especially. What I learned is I love this playoff format, and not just because of the fact that it's 12 teams. We actually now get literally 2 months of playoff football between the start of the college playoff in mid-December all the way through, second week of February of the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about meaningful football, and granted, in football, every game is meaningful because sample size is smaller than the other sports. But when you talk about playoff football, I mean, it gets no better than that. And to have, now 2 months of playoff football in my life is just extraordinary, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, when you have meaningful football games, basically from the conference title games, I guess.
Yeah, you can go that far too also.
Until the Super Bowl, because, those games can dictate seeding and things like that.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Penn State, more on that in a little while when we talk about what happened in the quarterfinals. It just feels like football in general has become more important to most teams, and I'm going to use most teams because of what Devin says here inside of his. What I learned this week is the Kansas City Chiefs can, at the same time.
Ooh. Sorry, Mikey.
Here's my takeaway with that. It's not a Kansas City Chief problem. It's an NFL problem. I mean, if you're basically going to allow a team to do what Kansas City did and just hey, Jim's back.
Oh, the host.
And not start anyone. I mean, I don't necessarily even know that I can blame the Kansas City Chiefs. I feel like the NFL has to almost be like.
And not only that, though, it's not like what they did on Sunday was like a new practice. It's something we've seen quite often. So
no, not at all. But it's one of those things where I would have loved for them to at least have played the starters for the first half, so you could have seen if there was a shot that and maybe that's what I'm hoping the NFL can, kind of jurisdict. Like, okay, cool. You have the 1 seed locked up. Your starters got to play the first half, or they can't play the first half of, the first playoff game. Do something to keep teams invested, because if you're selling tickets to people for a Week 18 game, like if Kansas City's on the road and it's the one shot that a fan in, let's say Minnesota gets to see Patrick Mahomes play for 4+ years, except for potentially if the schedule breaks their way on the home road split.
Yeah.
It's kind of load management. No.
And I hate to say it too also. I mean, I know that you as a Bengals fan, and you're going to agree with me on this to some degree, is that, again, you just do your own job. You do your job in only a year and you can win. And at the end of the day, you're not worried about that situation. So same with the Dolphins too also.
Beat New England in week 1.
There you go. Again.
Hit the 2-point conversion against Baltimore on the road on Thursday night. You're in.
Jim, I don't want to do it, Jim. You're going to hate it because I did this last year. And he's like, oh, it's not a must-win game. But how bad does it look now in hindsight? One game.
Right. But it doesn't.
I agree. I play it up, obviously, for because of what we do here. But, again, this is why the NFL is so great, though. You look back at the schedule. What games you could have won that could have changed this course of the season?
Okay, but nobody, not you, even with your I've fallen and hit my head, to anyone else in the world, will tell you week 1 New England at Cincinnati is a must-win game for the Cincinnati Bengals. There's not a soul in the world that's going to tell you that game.
No, I agree. How about Seattle Seahawks too? Also, I think about this till right now. You mentioned that Seahawks, that Giants game they lost in week 6, I think week 5 it was.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Look
always
now,
gonna be moments.
There's
in
going to be a
each
game
team's-
where you look up and you say that there's the hiccup that cost you your spot. It's
Right.
the New England game. It's the pass interference against the Chiefs on the road in week 2. It's
Yeah.
both games against Baltimore that we lost by a total of 4 points.
Right.
I get it, but
let's be fair too, though. When you have teams that are that one game away from either being a playoff team or not, there's probably also a game along the way that they won that they probably shouldn't have either. So like
True.
you can very easily do the Seahawks shouldn't have lost to the Giants. Seahawks probably also shouldn't have beat Team X. I don't have a.
It's just a fun exercise though. Chip,
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
I don't know what happened during the intro. I'm sitting there, music's playing, doing the intro, and then
Dude, I thought it was me. I thought it was me at
hear
first.
anything, and I'm like, Houston, we have a problem here.
Yeah, I thought it was me. I didn't reset in my browser. I was like, oh shit, it's me.
So did I, because I saw Ernest's head moving, and I just saw Jim was frozen, and I was like, no. So I backed out. Ernest backed out, and then you were like, if you're still in there, we're still live. And I was like, ooh, abort, get back in there.
Yeah,
Get back in.
I was like, uh-oh.
Hi, Jim. It's you. You're the problem.
Yeah, just all of a sudden everything's quiet, and I'm like, did I die?
Yeah,
there was one time I was podcasting down here, like in the studio during a thunderstorm, and we lost power. And I don't know if you know things about basements, but when the power goes out at night, they get real fucking dark. And like there was a split second where I was like, am I dead? Like I was like, did I? I was like, is this it? Did the lights just shut off? And then like the power came back on. I was
Did
like,
you get a little scared?
Well, no, because it happened. It was like it was only off for like 5 seconds.
Oh, okay,
Like,
okay.
in those 5 seconds, it was just kind of this. Wait, where am I? What happened? Did I die? And then boom, lights were back on.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I realized very quick. I'm like, oh, we're probably on the air. I'm not on the air. Yeah. So for those who stuck around for EJ and Mike talk football, welcome to Huddle Up Podcast this week.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy
First
New
up for
Year.
us, anyway.
We're back. I got a new mic arm though. It doesn't squeak anymore.
Ooh,
I know, isn't that neat?
sexy.
I know. I'm very happy about that. It was driving me insane for the last couple of years. But yeah, no, definitely glad to be here for the new calendar year. We have a couple weeks left in our live season, so we're gonna make the best of it here. I know you guys are going over a little bit of what did we learn, but kind of along those lines of what we learned and what we look back on from this past week. Before we get into the college football semifinal preview, we had the college football playoff quarterfinals here over this past week, and kind of let's look at some takeaways from this. I know EJ, you said that you really have been enjoying the format, and I think there's certainly, again, we've talked about the things that I think can get tweaked a little bit.
Yeah,
but I really am enjoying the college football playoff format. But Mike, I'll start with you. When we look at the playoff quarterfinals, what's kind of your biggest takeaway from the college football playoff second round?
All right. So we've talked on this show for the last couple of years, and there are 3 things in life that are certain: death, taxes, and the over. I found the 4th one. Death, taxes, the over, and Cam Scataboo. Because that guy is a goddamn tank.
He's a baller, dude. He really is.
Awesome.
He is the walking epitome of puke and rally, boys. I'm back. Because let's be very transparent. There was a lot of people, including people on this show, that were not understanding of why the Arizona State Sun Devils were in the playoffs, let alone were the 4th seed.
Right.
Guess what, guys? They earned every right to be in that playoff.
Absolutely.
With what they did in that football game. I will also say, please take all 7 of those officials, including the replay official, send them back to school, because what is targeting?
Seriously, man. Like
that was bad.
And also, like, let's if you're going to talk and go on these rants about what is and what isn't, at least have the common sense to find out what the rule in the league that you're going to be speaking as a quote unquote expert on is. Because I saw a lot of people saying, like, well, he didn't launch and he didn't do this, or there wasn't this, and none of those things are what is targeting in college football. In college football, it's forcible contact to the head or neck area. And man, you look at that, and it was and a defenseless player. Those are pretty much the two criteria for targeting in college football. That was targeting.
Yes.
Like, period, game, set, match. You can argue with a wall if you want to. Like, it was targeting. They got the call wrong. Now, we don't know if Arizona State's going to go make that kick.
No,
we don't. So we can't definitively say Arizona State would have won this game if the targeting was upheld. Now, what we can say is they would have been in a really good position to win the game had the targeting been upheld. And not even upheld. Like, I think that's the part that really bothers me about it, is it was not called on the field. Right, wrong, or indifferent, not called on the field. Should it have been? Probably. However, they saw something in review that said, we have to look at this further. And then you had an official on the field and experts in a booth discussing it, and they decided, nah, fam, this good. What?
Yeah, I think that's more the frustrating part. Like, you guys missed it on the field, fine. I can look up and go, it's a fast game.
Yes.
Referee may be in the wrong position. Human error, aka shit happens. Like, yeah. I am not going to be that guy that's going to try to blaze the field a torch in crimson and burn it to the ground because a human error potentially may have cost it. But when you have somebody that isn't on the field say, we need to look at this, and then you look at it and you still get it wrong, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
Like,
that's why people call into question things about officiating right there.
Correct. And that in my case is where I will really plant my flag. The referee, the sideline judge, those guys, that's a fast moving game. You got two really fast teams and you got to be moving with those guys. I get it. I'm not going to sit here and say that I could do it. Let's be very transparent. I'm fat. I'm slow.
Here's the deal. I'll say this. I umpired a like a scene, like a over 60 modified pitch softball league one time. And man, I'm going to tell every person that thinks it's easy to be an official, go down to your local, youth baseball, football, hockey, whatever league, sign up to be an official. Go to your, junior high football in your area and go to your state athletic commission and, become a side judge. Like, and I criticize officials. I'm not sitting here saying that I don't, but man, we are watching the game from a preferred TV angle with, crystal clear, high definition, nothing impeding our view, where we don't have, 7 foot tall, 400-pound juggernauts moving around us at warp speed. It's very easy for us to see things, especially when ESPN pulls up a replay and shows us something in the split second after it happens. It is not an easy thing to do for sure.
Yeah, that's the major thing that I learned. And that's the thing. We talked about this, and it's been a talking point of this show all year about the automatic qualifying, and sometimes the team don't deserve to be automatically in there. I will fall on the sword of Arizona State deserve to be in this playoff. Do they deserve to be the 4 seed? Maybe not. Do they deserve to be there and be a team in that situation? I think they proved themselves in that moment, in that game, that they'd at least deserved the invitation to be one of the first 12 teams in the college football playoffs.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the deal. It kind of goes along with my takeaway from the quarterfinal round is I still, you can go back to when we talked about this in the preseason. I don't like automatic bids. I get why we do them. I will never throw the flag up as to conference champions getting into the dance. Like, it's kind of like the same thing when now people seems like every other year in the NFL, we'll get there in a little bit, have this, division champ shouldn't get you a home playoff game, blah, 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 whatever. Well, then do away with divisions. Like, if conference champions shouldn't get into the playoff, do away with conferences. Just have everybody be independent. So conference champions getting in, that's what I'm fine with. The buys, the automatic buys for conference champions. That's where I threw the flag even before the season started. And as it played out, and again, Arizona State made a hell of an effort out of it. Boise State, thanks for playing. When Penn State shut the run game down pretty quick, we knew how that game was going to go. So would this maybe the same 4 teams end up in the Final Four if we just give the buys to the top 4? I don't know, but to me my biggest takeaway is the first fix that needs to happen, and it's reportedly already being discussed, is the automatic buys have to go away.
Now, if they go 16 teams, that's going to solve that problem.
No, you can do it even with 12.
I would stay with 12. I think 16. You're starting.
No, I agree. But there's already rumors out there saying that in the next 3-4 years.
Of course, there are. You left Alabama and Ole Miss sitting at home. I mean, I'm sorry. Of course, there's talk about it.
Yeah.
How'd Alabama do in their bowl game, by the way?
Boat raced.
Kind of cute, huh?
How'd South Carolina do in their bowl game, by the way?
Kind of cute, huh?
Lost.
To Big Ten teams. Wow, that's even more amazing. I'll give Ole Miss credit. They at least won their bowl game. Doesn't mean you should have been in the playoff, but you at least won your bowl game. So congratulations.
Bama did dress all their guys too, right? All the starters, right?
Yeah, Jalen Milroe looked real good against that Michigan defense.
I'll tell you this: Michigan had more guys sitting out than Alabama did.
Really?
Yes, sir.
I did not know that. Wow,
yes,
that's crazy.
Sir. Just so everybody,
bad look,
and Michigan lost their quarterback 2 plays in to the third quarter and played Alex Orji for the rest of the game, who was 2 of 3 for 2 yards passing in the second half.
Can I argue this?
Just for the record.
A little hot take.
Go Oklahoma.
No, can I argue this though? Kalen DeBoer hot seat next year? Given that school and their history and what they expect expectations?
No.
We say no, but they do things up in Alabama though.
Oh, yes, but here's the thing. When was Kalen DeBoer hired to be the head coach of Alabama? When in the offseason last year?
Pretty much. Was it January? January, yeah.
Okay, so let him get his
first. When was it? Let's see.
Well, remember, Saban lost on New Year's.
Okay,
Michigan.
so the middle of January, because Saban I think retired in shortly after the game, and they probably had De Beers in there by the 20th.
Yeah,
so let's say January 20th.
January 12th.
Oh, okay, I was off by 8 days.
So he's not even been on the job for
so he's not. Yeah, that's where I was getting at. He's not even been there a year. Let's let him get his first actual I've been recruiting this class since January of last year. Let him get in there. Let him hit the transfer portal without limitation, because the transfer portal, as we've learned on this show, opens December 7th, and he was still the coach somewhere else at that point.
Yeah.
So he's behind the 8 ball trying to get guys who want to transfer to go there. He's also finishing it up, and no disrespect to Jalen Milroe, but not his quarterback.
Right.
So I mean, let's
now. Granted, you want to talk year 3 is a hot seat, sure.
Correct.
You have another 9-4 season. Year 3 will be the hot seat.
Correct.
I don't think, especially with and when a coach leaves, okay. When a coach leaves, a lot of schools are going to have a panic flood out of recruits, players now in the portal era. So I don't think DeBoer is in a hot seat territory.
No, and for record, I agree with you guys. I'm with you. It should be that way. However, the hotbed football in Alabama and in Auburn, the way they think, that is literally a different mindset of how they look at their teams.
You wonder how I know Kalen DeBoer is not on a hot seat next year? Brian Kelly still the head coach of LSU.
How do you? And here's the other thing: you give DeBoer a small amount of leash because he's coming from an outside program. If they would have said Nick Saban's retiring and we're promoting the offensive coordinator, and the offensive coordinator goes 9-3, you can go, well, you sat in with Saban on all those meetings. You had an opportunity to keep recruiting. You had an opportunity to hit the portal. Okay, maybe the hot seat's a little bit there for the offensive coordinator, but DeBoer is coming off a complete. I'm leaving a team. I'm coming into a new environment. I'm coming into a whole new conference, because the way that the SEC plays is not the way that they played.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 35 different hurdles. And then you have guys who have been in that program for 3+ seasons with arguably the greatest coach in college football history, Nick Saban, who runs a completely different offense. So now you have to teach a whole new offense, a whole new defense. You got to get guys to learn it. You got to get guys to be on board on it. Oh, by the way, these are the guys that are going to leave in a year and try to go play in the NFL.
Right. And also, here's the thing. Ole Miss, not going to win a national title. South Carolina, not going to win a national title. Tennessee, not going to win a national title. LSU, not going to win a national title. Georgia, not going to win a national title. You're welcome. And so really the SEC's only path to a college football playoff national championship right now is Texas.
Overrated ass Texas.
And
the ugly stepbrother that they didn't want.
We'll get there, but Texas probably not going to win a national championship. So the one thing that DeBoer and Alabama have working in their favor is nobody else around them in their conference is going to hang a banner this year. So, like Georgia lost 3 games. Tennessee lost 3 games. Texas is going to probably lose a 3rd game here real quick. So everybody in the SEC field has 3, 4, or more losses this year. So, like if your college football playoff semifinal was, Georgia, Texas, and LSU, Ole Miss, it's going to look a little crappier for DeBoer. But with the way that the field ended up shaking out, I think he's in a pretty good spot for next year.
Yeah, I would agree.
EJ, what was your biggest takeaway from the?
No, I just mentioned a while ago. I think for me, like looking, and it's not to take away from Arizona State what they did because they absolutely deserve to be there without question. But my God, Texas is overrated. Texas is not as good as we thought they were. Like at least even all year long, honestly.
Oh! Don't lump me into we. Check.
No. Right. I'm just saying in general.
Texas a fraud since
the general public. The general public, of course. I mean, maybe it's because of the parity, but I don't know, man. But it's just I watched them like this is not a top 3 school. This is not a top 3 school.
I've called the SEC as a block. Not as good as advertised since about October 2nd. But Texas especially. So them. It looked like it was going to be a boat race, and then Arizona State went, like they were very quick.
Not so fast, my friend.
There he is.
Very quickly turned that game on its head. So I don't. Texas is definitely, and like that's the funny part is the SEC now has to look to basically a Big 12 team to be their safe.
It's the stepbrother they didn't want.
Yeah, exactly.
When it comes to Texas, I think the big thing here, like, I can't put my finger on it because you watch the first half of that game and that offense looked explosive. It looked like it was coming off the ball. It looked like it was ready to go. Quinn Ewers looked like he was making good decisions. And then I don't know what the fuck happened. It's like the offense just went to sleep.
Is it a Steve Sarkisian halftime adjustment problem?
I think honestly, I've said it on this show countless times. I called him out when they lost that his offensive play calling did not work and that he needed to figure it out if this team was going to make a run in a college football playoff situation. That, as I sit here and I listen to the Kirk Herbstreits and I listen to the Lou Holtz and I listen to the Pat McAfee's tell me that Sarkisian is this offensive guru and genius. I'm not gonna lie to you, that offense does nothing fucking for me.
I mean,
in the second half, it does even worse.
I mean, so I didn't watch the first round game because I was up with family, but that was a complete game, right? When they beat Clemson, right? Granted, opponent different, of course, but
Clemson came back late.
Yeah,
they did. Okay,
Clemson came back late and got into that. So looking at now, I will give Texas credit because I pulled up a couple of their games. The first game against Georgia, they were down 15-0 at half. They scored 15 in the third. Ended up then Georgia ran away with it in the fourth quarter. But SEC title game, Texas was up early. Carson Beck gets hurt. Gunnar Stockton comes in, leads Georgia to victory. Then even in the games, the Vanderbilt game, Texas is up 21-10 at halftime. They only score 6 points, 2 field goals in the second half. Vanderbilt puts up 14 and almost wins that one. Against Arkansas, 10 points in the first, 10 points in the second, but then they give up 10 in the second. So maybe it's also a defensive problem. They're not able to keep teams there. 17-0 at halftime against Texas A&M. A&M scores 7 in the third. They don't get anything there. So this is kind of the story of the Texas Longhorns. They do their offensive work, and I don't know if it's complacency. I don't know if it's just the other teams playing against them have better coaching, adjusting for the second half or what. But yeah, they are a first half football team.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels like they're a first half team. I mean, look at the Arizona State game. 7 points in the fourth quarter, nothing in the third, and then 15 points obviously in the overtime to get to victory. So the reality of the situation is the last 30 minutes of football against the Arizona State Sun Devils, they scored 7 points. That's an issue.
So I guess what the problem with Texas is the fact they just can't put together a complete game at this point.
Yeah, they're a 30-minute football team.
And I don't get it. It's one of those things where are we looking at them and saying, okay, like they went for 375. They had the ball for 22 minutes and 6 seconds in that game against Arizona State. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a defense problem.
Well, yeah, they're a Big 12 team.
Because here's the issue. Cam Scadaboo and the Arizona State Sun Devils ran for 215 yards in that game.
Scadaboo, I love that name.
When you're running,
I imagine Chip Kelly has just been sitting in his office, licking his chin.
Mike, say it again. Scadaboo.
Cam Scadaboo. I love it. So, but here's the thing: when you're letting up 215 on the ground, that means your offense is sitting there stagnant for a while.
That means Notre Dame and Penn State want Texas to find a way to win this Friday.
The time of possession. Arizona State, 37 minutes and 54 seconds.
Jeez, because Arizona State doesn't play like a typical Big 12 team.
No, they had 49 carries for 214, and the quarterback went 26 of 48 for 296 with a touch. And then Texas, 322 passing yards, 53 rushing yards. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's
and 22 minutes of time of possession. That it almost feels like their defense, like Sarkisian's out there going, let's score a lot of points in the first half, and then just play defense the rest of the game.
I mean, we don't say death, taxes, and the over for Big 12 football for nothing. I mean, that's kind of where that moniker came from. But
it's not just a cute saying, boys and girls.
Exactly. All right, but yeah, it was a fun. Well, for most fans. It was a fun quarterfinal. We now look towards the college football playoff semifinals, which start on Thursday. Thursday night, Friday night are your games this week, and both of these will be on ESPN as the playoffs are. But we start Thursday night, 7:30 Eastern time. It is the Orange Bowl. It is the number 7 seed Notre Dame. They are 13-1 on the season, a 2.5-point favorite against number 6 seed Penn State. They are 13-2 on the year. Your over/under on this one is 45. EJ, we'll start with you.
Let me just start here. Like all 4 of these schools, I can't stand, and so I'm trying to find things. What can I root for? Like for Notre Dame, obviously I root for you, not Matt, not Sean. For you, maybe Jordan Buscarini of the Risky Podcast. We'll see. Shout out to Jordan, of course. I don't know. All these schools have something I probably should root for. I don't know. To me, it's about trust for Penn State. Can Penn State continue to, do something I have not seen them do in decades? What they've been doing this year.
Who do you trust?
They made it this far now. They've done the Final Four now, so they made it this far. But I got to tell you, and look, I know they beat Georgia with on a man, the quarterback. But that was still impressive nonetheless, the way they beat Georgia last week. And granted, that game was probably a little closer than the score indicated, but still impressive. I'm going to take Notre Dame this one. I think Notre Dame, at the end of the day, I trust good defenses late in the year, and that is the identity of the Irish. So I want to take Notre Dame this game, but I'm going to take a very heavy under. I think their defense will stifle Penn State ultimately. And keep this game to
I'll get to my prediction in a second, but if Notre Dame is going to win, similar to the Georgia game, I think the under is the play. I'll say this to anybody, and this is my homer moment of the night. But what I'll say about the game against Georgia, for anybody that's pointing to, oh, Georgia didn't have their quarterback, just go Google the number of Notre Dame players who have been lost to season-ending injuries this year.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'll let you do it. You can do that, and then tweet at me if you want to.
Pause the episode while you do it.
I'll do that. You can tweet at me if you want to. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to hear about injuries from Georgia fans. Mikey B, who you got?
Here's the thing. I sit here and I hear all the talk about who do you trust, hubba, and Penn State and James Franklin. And here's the deal. That team beat an undermanned and undersized American team in SMU in the first round. Then their defense locked in against the guy who still ran for 100 yards that nobody wants to have a conversation about, only the second running back against them all year to run for 100 yards in Ashton Genty. Problem is it took him 30 carries, so it makes it look more bleak. But here's the deal. What are they going to face that they haven't faced so far in the playoffs? A quarterback who has no problem tucking the football and running it, because Maddox Madsen ain't that guy. In that game, he went 23 of 35, still eclipsed 300 passing yards with a touchdown and 3 interceptions. What does Riley Leonard not do? Turn the ball over. What does Riley Leonard not do? Take sacks, something that Maddox Madsen did a lot in that game if you watched it. That being said, here's the deal. I don't trust James Franklin. I think it was just a matter of when, not if, they ran into a team that was going to be able to figure them out. And guess what? Give me the better coach. Give me Marcus Freeman. Give me the Fighting Irish, because here's the deal. That guy on Thursday afternoon, with a minute and a half left, knew they had to get a first down before he smiled. That guy is locked the fuck in. Irish by a bunch. Give me the over.
Yeah, look, we talked about Penn State's road to get here in the playoff. We talked about the road to get to the playoff. We know they've lost to Ohio State and to Oregon. They've lost to really good football teams. They put up a ton of points against Oregon. Probably the best defense they played against was Ohio State, and they didn't have as good of luck on the offensive side of the ball. I'm hoping for that on Thursday. This is a weird spot for me to be in because even in like the 2-3 days after the Georgia game, it was like, hold on, time out. Did that really that was a thing that just happened on Thursday afternoon? Because Notre Dame doesn't win those games in my lifetime. That's literally their biggest win since I was 9 years old. Nope, 8 years old, because it was January of '94. So it was weird. So I'm already feel like I'm gonna vomit. And we're still 2 days away from game time, so that's a good sign. Here's the thing. I leading up to the Georgia game, didn't talk a lot of shit on Georgia because I've had to eat my words a lot when it comes to Notre Dame football in my lifetime. So I'm not really going to do that with Penn State here. I think if Notre Dame plays Notre Dame football in this season, I think Notre Dame is the better team. And I think that they will have the opportunity to show that. But Penn State does have guys that can make plays. Tyler Warren is a hell of a tight end. They have a great front seven on defense. They always do. So it's going to be a trench game. I've watched Notre Dame win trench games all season, starting at Texas A&M, at other times throughout this year against Georgia. Like watching Notre Dame's offensive line push the Georgia defensive line around was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in sports in my lifetime. So I'm hoping that advantage comes into play again. I will take Notre Dame. I will take Notre Dame to cover the 2.5. But I think it is going to be an under. I think we're going to see a similar game to what they did against Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, and I have Notre Dame moving on. Devin has Notre Dame and the over. Mike, do you have any of the picks from the other guys?
I have the other three guys. All three of them took Notre Dame. None of them picked the over/under.
All right, very good, very good. Now we move to the Cotton Bowl. This one Friday at 7:30 Eastern time. It's the number 18 Ohio State Buckeyes. They are 12-2. They are a 6-point. Should we call it road favorite because the game's in Texas? We'll call it a 6-point favorite. At playing against number 5 Texas, who is 13-2 on the year. Your over/under on this one is 53. EJ,
I don't know what's gone to Ohio State since the Michigan loss back in November, because this is a completely different team since then.
Bad defenses.
Whatever it is,
this
man.
Guy gets it.
I'm just saying they look like a completely different team. Like, we will literally walk on the corpse of Ryan Day getting fired. Literally,
we were just rooting for that,
and then all of a sudden they're like the best team in college football. All of a sudden, out of nowhere. And to me, I don't give a shit. It's a game being played in Texas. I don't give a damn. I already said it earlier in the podcast. Texas overrated as hell. Ohio State, the way they look right now, they look like the best team of the 4 right now on paper. Now, obviously, we got to play the game, see how it plays out. But to me, unlike the first game we just covered right now, which will be in my opinion competitive, this won't. Ohio State blows the doors off of Texas this one. Give me Ohio State to win this game and cover the spread, and give me the under.
Oh, the under.
Yeah.
Okay. Mikey B.
As much crap as we've given Stark about being an offensive mind in the first half, here's the thing. I think when you go back and you watch the film of the Ohio State-Oregon game, he's going to learn one thing that for some reason Dan Lanning wasn't able to comprehend, and for as good of a coach as Dan Lanning is, I don't get it, which was as good as Ohio State was the first 3 drives of that football game, on 4th and 3 or closer, why are we punting them the football back? We can't stop them if they're at their own 20 or if they're at our 20. We've got to find a way to put points on the board.
Yeah.
Texas has found a way to put points on the board in the first half of football games. I will give them all the devil their due there. That being said, here's the deal. Playing 2 really bad defenses will make your offense look like $1,000. Who you want to pick, Jackson? Who you got? All right, he ran away. That being said, here's the deal. I'm going to take the Texas Longhorns plus the points. I think this game will stay close because I think the key here is going to be Texas is going to find a way to use Arch Manning more in this football game. He's going to be on the field. He's going to be there to scramble. He's going to be there to keep people at bay and try to keep the defense from being able to just basically blanket cover everyone. I think there's a reason why he hasn't been used the first 2 games of the playoffs, and I think it's because they don't want to play their hand, because I think they understand they're going to need him to get past Ohio State and or whomever they play if they get it to the college football title game. So that being said, I'll take Texas plus the points. I am going to take the over because it's death taxes in the over, and let's be real. As much as Ohio State looked good, they still gave up 21 points plus to Oregon, and I think they gave up at least 14 to Tennessee?
17 to Tennessee. It was a 42-17 final.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the Rose Bowl ended up being 41-21.
Yeah. This is the over. I think the over clears. The over might hit by half. So, yeah. I'll take Texas plus the points. I do think Ohio State wins the football game, though.
I hope. I hate uncompetitive games at this point. Staring plainly at Georgia TCU in the Natty a couple of years ago. But I do have a hard time seeing where Texas is really going to make this competitive. Now, is it going to be a 20-point differential? That I don't know. I see it more in like the 10 to 14 range. I think Ohio State wins this pretty darn easily because I think they're going to do the thing that they did against Tennessee. I think they're going to do the thing they did against Oregon in the early portion. They're going to get up. They're going to get up big. And I think that's where you're going to see Sark make a change, put in Arch Manning, and that may slow the bleeding down a little, but I don't think you're going to really be able to stop it. So I'm going to take Ohio State and the over in this one. I think it's a pretty easy win. But, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, look, I will not deny that Ohio State visually in the college football playoff looks like the best team. Sure, I'll agree with that statement. But I think that's one of the details that's getting lost is you have a Tennessee team who is not the greatest defensively. And they came into a cold environment. They tried to play tough guy. They got punched in the mouth, and they just couldn't get back up. And then Oregon, who gave up, 40 points to Penn State in the Big Ten title game. So it shouldn't be a shock that they gave up 40 points to Ohio State, who,
better offense.
Right, no matter how much we've talked about how, over the year, how good is the Big Ten? The Big Ten's really top heavy. Ohio State may not be as good as they've been in previous years. The thing that we've always still agreed on is they're a better team than Penn State. So if Penn State can put up 40 on Oregon, why couldn't Ohio State?
Yeah, why couldn't they put up 60?
Right. So, let's not act surprised when the thing we know is going to happen happens. And it may happen again on Friday. Yeah. It may happen again. But I know that there is a team who's already played Ohio State, and there's a team who hasn't played Ohio State this year, but they've played them the previous two. And both of those teams are going to be studying the game film from November 30th in Columbus if they advance the national championship. That's what I know, because that's how you stop the Ohio State Buckeyes. And there's probably just one team, in my opinion, that has the ability to do that, but I don't want to put the cart before the horse. So Buckeyes plus and the over. Devin is rooting for Texas. Here's the thing. I'm rooting for Texas. I'm rooting for Texas and for multiple reasons. 1, hate Ohio State. 2, if Notre Dame advances, would rather play them. 3, fuck Ryan Day, that painted hair bitch. But
too mean.
No, it's not.
That's facts. Facts don't care about feelings. We've talked about this.
You've seen the same. I say.
So that is where we leave the world.
Sean,
the other guy.
Sean takes Texas plus the points. Matt and Kyle both take the Ohio State University.
Tell Sean he's wrong. Jim, when you get a chance.
Oh, I mean,
he'll listen to the show.
Find out. But now let's go ahead and jump into the National Football League. The regular season behind us. The last time we met and we were live on this show, we had regular season to talk about, but that is in the rearview mirror now as we are in the NFL playoffs. So if you're on our YouTube channel, if you're on any of our live feeds, or if you're on our TikTok later after the fact, you can see the field in front of you. Of course, the Detroit Lions off their win on Sunday night as your number 1 seed in the NFC. The Kansas City Chiefs had that locked up in the AFC a while ago. So we have 3 matchups in the NFL starting this weekend: 2 Saturday, 3 Sunday, 1 Monday. And we will start in Houston on Saturday, 4:30 Eastern time on CBS. It's your number 5 seed Los Angeles Chargers. Them fighting Harbaugh's got to the 5 seed. How about it? They are 11-6 on the season. They are a 3-point road favorite at the number 4 seed Houston Texans, who finished the year 10-7. Your over-under on this one is 42.5. Mikey B, we'll start with you.
Well, I mean, let's be very transparent here. The Houston Texans may be one of, if not the worst, team to get a home game since the 7-9 Seattle Seahawks. This team sucks out loud. It is not good. They won a real bad division. There's no way that I'm going to sit here and tell you that the Fighting Harbaughs are not going to win this football game. Lad McConkey may score more than the entire Texans offense by himself. Give me the Chargers. I will take the under just because I don't think the Texans are going to score.
That's fair. EJ.
I have said all year long, the Texans are lucky to be playing that division and get 10 wins, because any other division probably they plan to make playoffs, because they have been underwhelming the entire year. So, the fact they're even here is a blessing, and that the AFC South obviously was trash this year. That being said, Jim Harbaugh, a phenomenal coaching job this year. As I said, he's a culture changer. The guy is probably top 3 coach in all of football, period, college or pros. He's just that damn good and has been for the last decade or more. Look, this is the Chargers. To me, the Chargers are the dark horse of the AFC. They're the team right now in that wild card bracket that can really fuck shit up for Kansas City or anybody else on the top of the seats. So that said, you ain't know who I'm gonna pick here. I'm picking the Chargers to win this game. I like your under there, Mike, but I think the number is so low enough that you might get a slight over. So give me a slight over on this game.
Yeah, the Texans obviously lucky to play in the division that they do. They've kind of limped throughout the year, have had injuries along the way as well, but they still come in beat up. The Chargers starting to get healthy as well at the right time. Offense is starting to click. We've seen the offense, and I even noted it on Sunday and the week prior that I'm watching this team, and I'm like, man, these receivers that we sat in our NFL preview show going, who are these people? Like who is Justin Herbert throwing to? And Ladd McConkey, household name. But there's guys, on the underside. Will Dissly is at tight end has come on strong late. Quentin Johnson is a great number 2 option emerging
when he can actually hold on to the football.
Yeah, right. And you have a running game now with Dobbins back. They signed Zeke. As a short yard back option, he's
worse.
Hopefully finding new life there. I like the Chargers to win. I like them to cover here, but I do still like the under. If the Chargers are going to win this game, they're going to have to keep the Texans' weapons from doing anything. And it's playing a good defensive game, which I know they're going to do. And keep the ball out of the playmaker's hands. So, I like the under.
And I'll say this much. In a world, if Dan Campbell didn't exist or even Kevin O'Connell didn't exist this year, Jim Harbaugh's coach of the year.
Yeah, for sure. Mike, you got the other guys' picks?
Yes. All 3 took the Chargers.
All right, smart play. Devin's got the Chargers and the under as well. Then we move to Saturday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time on Prime Video, the first NFL postseason game on Prime Video. I know Kyle loves that. We go to Charm City. It is the number 6 seed Pittsburgh Steelers, who have had a rough final month of the season, falling to 10-7. They travel to the number 3 seed Baltimore Ravens, finished the year 12-5 and division champs there. They are a 10-point home favorite. Your over-under is 44, Mikey B.
I don't know. I feel like somebody on this panel at some point this season said that there may be a Russell Wilson problem in Pittsburgh. I don't know who it was. I don't know who talked about it, but there was someone that said that might be an issue. Well, guess what, boys? The issue is at freaking DEFCON 5. Losers of 4 straight. Couldn't get out of their own way against Cincinnati.
Game over, man. It's game over.
Couldn't figure it out. Had a shot to control your own destiny and basically almost have a walk in playing Houston. And they still found a way to lose to Cincinnati, who was trying to give them that game at points. Mm-hmm. This offense is in trouble. You know what offense isn't in trouble? The team that they're facing. Give me the Ravens minus the points and give me the over because they may hit it by themselves.
EJ.
I get it. Baltimore is right now the hottest team in the conference right now coming to the playoffs.
No, they're
Who's
not.
hotter than them right now? Who's
the
hotter
hottest team? The hottest team isn't playing in the playoffs. Let's be very transparent. The hottest team. Okay. It's not playing in the playoffs.
That is
very transparent.
Okay, in the playoffs. But
the
my
hottest
point
team left.
is,
Yeah, you're right.
The hottest team in the playoffs is the
you're right. No. I'm with you. No, that's what it there. No. Baltimore. So I get why there's 10 points is a lot of points here. I get why they're favored that many points. It is just hard for me, and I know they just beat this team on week for Christmas by 14 or something or more than that. Anyway, in the same spot in the same area. It's just hard for me to see a Steelers Ravens game where the Ravens, cover 10 points like that on a whim. So I'm gonna look. Baltimore's in this game. That's not even a conversation. But I can see a late cover by Pittsburgh here. So give me Pittsburgh on the points in a late cover after everything's all settled, and I will take a. Hold on, my thing is screwed there. And I'll take an over also too on this one.
You're just tell us, Ernest. You can't pick against Omar Epps because the last 4 weeks of the season, 14-point loss to Philadelphia, 13-point loss to Baltimore, 19-point loss to the Chiefs. and then a 2-point loss to the Bengals. Like,
Not great, Bob.
And for the record, I'm one of the biggest Russell Wilson defenders on the planet. He hasn't played well last month, but can I argue, especially against the Bengals game? My God, George Pickens, what the fuck you doing, bro? You want to look as a top receiver?
Buddy,
he's a problem. There's quite a few problems in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's your starting quarterback throwing for 148 yards in a game that you need to win to be the 5 seed.
Not great, Bob.
There's other guys there. Pat Freiermuth was open 85% of that game because what can the Cincinnati Bengals not do? Cover tight ends.
Right.
George
Pickens cost us a lot of money, future money. So
George Pickens is George Pickens' own worst enemy, and if he wants to be out of Pittsburgh that bad, he can join the Tyreek Hill sweepstake.
Yep.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
You ain't lying.
Look, man, I brought it up in our group. The Steelers have lost 4 in a row. They've lost 5 of their last 7. I understand it's the roughest stretch of their year, but if you're going to try to tell me that you're going to make some noise and win a playoff game for the first time since 2016, you got to show me something in the last month of the year that tells me you can do it. You haven't showed me anything in the last month of the season that tells me you're going to be able to go into Baltimore and beat the Ravens. This series is notorious for low-scoring games. I don't even see that happening this weekend. I'm definitely hitting the over. And I think, I smell boat race. Give me Baltimore plus the 10. Here's the thing. I know that people, you don't want to hear it, but the calls are going to get louder. The calls from inside the house are going to get louder because regular season success is great. Don't get me wrong. But at some point, you need to have a conversation about, 9 years since a playoff win. This will now be, if they lose this Saturday, be 8-11 all time in the postseason for Mike Tomlin. That's a problem.
And weren't 4 of them on the run to the Super Bowl win?
Yeah. He
or three or 4 of them are there. So you're telling me he's 5
in 2008 he was 3-0. 2010 when they lost the Super Bowl he was 2-1. So he literally won 5 of his 8 playoff games in his first 3 trips to the postseason. Like, great regular season coach. But
there is a conversation at this point, and I'm one of the biggest Tomlin defenders on the planet. Me and Kyle Nash especially too. But there's a conversation that maybe a change of voice could be
right. Look at Andy Reid in Philadelphia.
That being said, ain't gonna happen though. But Andy Reid also finished last year 4-12 too, though. To be fair,
right?
So,
but I understand that. But my point is, no matter what level of success you have had, if it's not working in the postseason anymore, there needs to be a conversation to be made. Like Mike McCarthy has a better postseason record, winning percentage than Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
For the record, like.
I get it, man.
You know what I mean?
It's complicated. It's complicated because he has done a great job of he's taken some really mediocre teams and kept them together. But at the same time, though, the expectations in Pittsburgh are much higher than
and that's why. Like, here's the thing, because I don't think he will be fired.
No, he won't. Oh, he won't be fired.
But I will not chastise any Steeler fan that calls for him to be fired.
Neither will I, and that's someone who I have to play twice a year. Let's be very transparent. Quarterback after Ben Roethlisberger, they have failed, and that's a problem. Like,
and here's here to me, this is the bigger problem: is you went 10-7 with Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, and Kyle Trubisky.
But
you went out and got Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, and you went 10-7. Okay.
I mean, it's a credit and a curse too. Also, it's a credit to Tomlin in the sense they did that with those 3 guys. But then you bring in Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, who were clearly better than those other 3 guys you mentioned.
Right.
And it's a wash. So I get it. Yeah. It's complicated.
Yeah.
But the reality of the situation is this: you had 10 wins. You had 4 opportunities, including playing a team that you hung 44 on not 5 weeks ago. And that guy didn't even show up on Saturday night.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a conversation that needs to be had. Maybe it's going back to Justin Fields next year, but I don't know if Rusty's got the tank to last 17, 18 weeks anymore. That's a problem.
Rusty looks dusty. That's all I'm going to say. Devin has Baltimore in the over. Mike, what's the other guys got?
All 3 take the Baltimore Ravens.
All right, there we go. Now we go to Sunday, 1:00 Eastern time on CBS. It is those those pesky Denver Broncos. They find their way in
The Denver Broncos.
by way of Carson Wentz and the Kansas City Leasts in Week 18.
They should have to play Carson Wentz the first half of the fucking divisional round.
Nobody wants to see that.
No, we all do. Fuck them.
Actually, that's true. We do all want to see that. But it is the number 7 seed Denver Broncos. They finished the year 10-7. They travel to 13-4 Buffalo, who is your number 2 seed. They are an 8.5-point home favorite. Your over/under on this one is 47. Mike,
if you think I'm actually going to take the Denver Broncos plus the points in this game, you've lost your ever fucking loving mind. I don't think there's a shot. And here's the thing: kudos to Sean Payton, kudos to Bo Nix.
Sound insane.
Kudos to Nick Bonino and that defense for getting them into a position that, honestly, I don't think anybody on this panel realistically thought that this team was a playoff team this year. Maybe this was a step in the right direction for this team, and we're looking into 2025 as a playoff potential team. So shout out to all those guys. No, it's Buffalo. It's Buffalo by 1 billion. It's Buffalo hitting the over probably by themselves. There's a shot. Who's the backup quarterback there? Is it Trubisky?
Trubisky.
it is Trubisky. Yeah,
Trubisky may throw for as many yards as Bo Nix does in this game after they bench Josh Allen midway through the second half because they're up by that much.
Trubisky or whatever the hell his name is.
Bills by 1 billion.
All right, EJ.
Why are you so soft in Denver? I mean, they've been. Are you mad they took us last?
No, it's not a matter of being soft on Denver. It's the reality of the situation.
It's
they overachieved.
They 100% overachieved off rip. But again, that Denver team had an opportunity to put a nail in the Cincinnati coffin. They struggled against that defense, and you expect me to pick them against a defense that's actually good?
Oh, there's no shot to win this game.
That's what I'm saying. It's nothing. It's literally, if Denver was playing Pittsburgh or Houston or the Chargers, I would probably sit here and tell you Sean Payton gives those guys a shot to win the football game.
Here's the deal. I have a friend who's a diehard Denver Broncos fan. I texted him on Sunday. Hey man, congrats to the Broncos getting to the playoffs. He goes, yeah, first one in a long time. It feels good. Shame is just to get crushed by the Bills in the first round.
There you go.
He knows.
Yeah, and look, the Bills are gonna win this game, and they're gonna win. They're gonna cover the spread. Could I see Denver maybe putting up a fight in the first half into the third quarter? Maybe, but if even that happens, Josh Allen will take their business in the fourth quarter, and that'll be that. So give me the Bills to cover this game and give me the under. I don't know the weather in this game yet, so I'll just play it safe there.
Cold, probably.
Any snow, maybe?
Wait, hold on. You're talking about a team that plays at Mile High that gets snow.
That's what I said.
It's a snow that slowed down the offense a little bit. So
yeah, they're not going to be impacted by the cold, but
no, right.
Sunday,
1 o'clock.
Mostly cloudy, high 28. So
yeah.
weather's
there's no snow.
Weather's not going to be a factor. Yeah, look, here's the deal. Denver overachieved this year. We talked about them. They're a super fun team. Bo Nix probably surprised just about everybody out there with how he played his rookie year. It's been fun. Here's your consolation prize. You get a free trip to Orchard Park in January. That said, yeah, Buffalo, easy, cover, over, moving on. They're going to take care of business. Who you got for the other ones, Mike?
All three take the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, it's a smart one. All right, now we go Sunday, 4:30 Eastern time on Fox. It is the number 7 seed Green Bay Packers. They are 11-6 on the year. They travel to the number 2 seed, 14-3 Philadelphia Eagles, who are a 4.5-point favorite. Your over/under on this one is 45.5. One important thing to watch, especially from a gambling perspective, if you're into that sort of thing. Jalen Hurts still currently in concussion protocol. So was it Taylor McKee or
Tanner McKee?
Whatever the hell his name is.
It would be Kenny Pickett.
I think Pickett's still hurt.
It's ribs. It's ribs. He'll wear a flak jacket like he did in the game to clinch them to division. I mean, I don't think you're putting Meineke Car Care Bowl out there to try to win a playoff game.
Either way, that could potentially sway the line a little bit.
Maybe. I don't. Without having any intel on this situation, I do think he'll be clear. I just think they're not going to wait.
You mean the NFL's not going to put a guy in concussion protocol out there in a big game? Yeah,
There's a wait till
I'm so
Thursday.
surprised.
that's very surprising.
Yeah,
Mikey, who do you got in this one?
So as of today, no new information according to Nick Sirianni, who is because he's still in concussion protocol. Smith, Dean, and Brown all questionable. Those are the only injuries that Philadelphia has announced. But if there's a team that you need to figure, it's a team they're playing, the Green Bay Packers. Christian Watson out for the year. His ACL is gone. We're here talking about Jordan Love. Matt LaFleur said Monday he thinks Love, quote, is going to be okay, but has not been cleared. Whether it will be limited in practice heading into Sunday's wildcard game or not will be to determine. Quay Walker, their linebacker, ankle injury. LaFleur optimistic that he's going to play. So what you're telling me is you're going to shoot both of those guys up with more drugs than you could probably think of. Like this is Bud Kilmer trying to win the Texas State Championship.
Affirmative.
And we're going to get those guys out there, but they are without Christian Watson, who tore his right ACL. That's a problem because Christian Watson has been one of Jordan Love's favorite targets. That being said, I don't care if it's Kenny Pickett or Meineke Carcare. The Philadelphia defense will find a way to win this game. And it'll almost look like Ashton Genty with Saquon Barkley, where he's going to probably carry the ball 45 times and probably have 200 yards and 4 touchdowns, and they're going to win this game like 28-10. I don't understand how this line is only 4.5, and maybe it's because Jalen Hurts is in concussion protocol. But Jordan Love's hurt too. I don't get it. Eagles, I'll take the Eagles, and I'm going to take a slight under just because I don't know that either quarterback's going to play in this game.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal: if you're you know with the injuries on both sides, I think playing a 4.5 cover for the Eagles is actually a really smart play to grab now because if Hurts does clear and the Packers are still beat up, I think that line's going to sway in the Eagles' favor. That's going to make it a little bit hard from a betting perspective. So
if he gets cleared by Thursday, that thing moves at least 2.5 to 3 points.
Yeah. Before we go to EJ's pick, I just got a text. Being reported, former Orioles pitcher Brian Mattis passed away today, 37 years old.
Oh wow. What happened?
No word on what happened. Just that he passed away. So that's awful news, man. He had a good run with the Orioles back then on bad Orioles teams. He was one of the bright shining spots. So that's sad news though. EJ, Packers and Eagles.
Yeah, that 4.5 feels like a steal, man. Like a steal. Because like, look, I'm assuming that Jordan Love will play. I'm assuming that Jalen Hurts will play as well too. So if you're betting this game, bet the Eagles right off the rip. Because I think the Eagles are going to win this game fairly comfortably. I don't like what I've seen from Green Bay the last couple of weeks coming into the postseason. I really don't like it. And this is the team that I was, week 2, week 3. Oh wait, 10 cream.
Do you have any green toes left on the ground?
No, I am. No, look. I'm out. So I said earlier on the AFC side, my dark horse that will fuck shit up in that side of the rack will be the Chargers. It would have been the Packers weeks ago, not anymore. That's another team. We'll get to that later on. No, this is the worst match they could have gotten here, especially too. Eagles win this game. Eagles win comfortably and give me the under.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there were some people saying that it wasn't smart for the Packers to be playing like their starters on Sunday. They were playing for the 5 seed. They lost. Yeah. Washington won, so they got it. But yeah, because they were trying to compare it to like the Chiefs and other teams that were sitting guys out. I'm like, Packers had something to play for. That's a different thing. It sucks that guys got hurt. But they had seeding to play for. So no, they weren't dumb for playing their starters. Just sometimes bad things happen. Yep. Yeah, I don't really understand 4.5. Like even with even if Hurts doesn't play, I mean, you still have better receivers on the Eagles side of the ball. You have a better tight end on the Eagles side of the ball. You have a better running back on the Eagles side of the ball, and you have a better defense on the Eagles side of the ball. So I'm taking the Eagles to cover at 4.5. Yeah, grab that if you're a gambler. Do it now. For my pick now, I'll take the under. Just again because of the injuries on both sides. If some guys kind of clear up and get healthy, that would move. But I'll take the gamble for the pick here and take the under on him. The other picks on the show, Mike.
Kyle has the Packers. The other guys have the Eagles.
I hope Kyle's right for the record.
I mean, I am.
I am go Pack go. I want to come on this show next Tuesday and watch Sean and Matt cry and cry.
Man, and you called me mean about Ryan Day.
Yeah, but unfortunately,
you're mean.
I'm okay with it though.
I mean, I'm okay with it too.
But the reality situation is this though. Analyzing it as you always do on the show, Eagles better team. They should win this game pretty comfortably.
Yeah. It really shouldn't be close. But all right, let's move.
I'm not going to be as mean as the other two guys. So Sean and Matt, I'm here for you.
So real quick, because I know Sean will be on a couple minutes. Mike, who will be the equivalent for you of the Eagles for me and Jim? Because I think him and Hyde both hit the Eagles more than the team in the league. I think, right?
I think it has to be Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
that's the team I would have put money on.
It's a PA thing, huh?
No. I mean, you would think on paper it would be Baltimore because of how good Baltimore is, but the problem is Pittsburgh has gone into Cincinnati, won playoff games. Pittsburgh has beat them in the regular season to keep them out of the playoffs. Cincinnati's gone into Pittsburgh and won games that they weren't supposed to keep them out of the playoffs. Like, I feel like that's more of a I don't like the Baltimore Ravens by any stretch of the imagination. Let's be very transparent there. But I can at least respect what Baltimore does.
And you've also had Lamar Jackson a couple times in fantasy team too for years.
No. But here's the thing. I'll root for Lamar whenever he plays against Cincinnati Bengals. The problem is the Bengals go 14-2, and the two losses are to Baltimore when Lamar Jackson has great games. I'm okay with it. I've learned to come to respect what Baltimore does. I will never get over what happened when Joey Porter, a coach who wasn't supposed to be on the field, walked onto the field after the hit that laid out Antonio Brown and caused a fucking fight with Vontaze Burfict that we got flagged for, and they cut the field goal to win that football game and potentially blew any shot of us actually having a real shot of winning a Super Bowl before Joe Burrow became a quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. So mind you, when I say this, fuck you, Joey Porter.
And also, I mean, Pittsburgh, that's been the rivalry since day one. You're 4 hours apart. Baltimore, they've been around for 20 years, but
correct. And
it's a division rival. But yeah, Pittsburgh is the hit. There's the history there with the proximity and all of that. It just would certainly make more sense. Devin has the Eagles and the under for that game. Now we move to Sunday night, 8:00 Eastern time on NBC. It is the number 6 seed Washington Commanders. They are 12-5. They travel to where they started their regular season.
Correct.
Number 3, Tampa Bay, 10-7 on the year. A 3-point home favorite for Tampa. 50.5 is your over/under, Mikey.
This will probably be the best, if not the second best game of the first round.
Totally agree with
you. Should be.
Totally agree with
this slate. Baker Mayfield's been playing out of his mind. Jaden Daniels, 99.9% going to be the offensive rookie of the year. Listen to those on the Student of the Game Report tomorrow as me and Kyle Nash go over the year-end awards. That being said, there's something about football karma that just always finds a way to rear its ugly head. And I think this is where it happens. I get it. You're trying to get Mike Evans his receiving goal and all of that. Throwing the ball with 48 seconds left to make sure that he gets it.
Was also money on the line too.
That's
also
what I'm saying.
Yes.
He gets a super incentive basically by getting there. It's
for it.
I mean, I am too, but if I was New Orleans, I would have literally loaded up everybody against him, and I'd have hit him before the ball got there, because at that point, no other time in football are you going to be throwing the ball with 40 seconds left and we only have 2 timeouts. You're going to need it. We're going to go home and we're going to start our offseason. So I think karma has a way of rearing its ugly head here. I'm going to take the Washington Commanders to win this game outright, and I will take the over.
Hey, all right, EJ.
Yeah, I'm the Mike. This is, to me, is going to be the best or second best game of the weekend. It's also probably the hardest game to pick because these teams are relatively even, honestly, if you think about it. Tampa, had a nice little run after the bye, and when they got healthy, then they had a couple of games, little hookups here toward the end of the year, but they got in and won the South, all that. The Commanders haven't put together a complete game in quite a while, but they still find ways to win games.
They won the South because Perk Coupons went all perked out, and they had to go to Michael Penix because the guy couldn't win a football game.
Right. So I'm just saying. Tampa probably get in. I slice it. This is a tough game, man. It really is. Like, this go either way. And fitting where this season started for these teams, as you mentioned, week 1. I'm just gonna go on a vibe here. I like the Commanders. I just like they have nothing. There's nothing to play for. They just, they're not supposed to be here. You know what I'm saying? Tampa is won the South 4 years in a row. So in a sense, they've been here, and done this thing many times over. So there's really no pressure on Washington, really, because that's supposed to be in the first place. And I think there's something to that. There really is something to that. Jane Daniels plays like a veteran, and to me, it's like there's a lot of value in that as well. I'm going to take the Commanders here just because of the vibe. Like, I have no feel in this game whatsoever. It's going to be a great game, like Mike said earlier, probably game of the weekend. And give me the over. Give me the over in this one. I can see this shootout.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. Todd Bowles has had regular seasons of 8-9, 9-8, 10-7, and he is 1-2 in postseason play. And he is a 3-time division champion. But come on, you're winning the worst division, in the NFC at least. So I think there's certainly more pressure on Tampa Bay at this point to get this win. And I don't think they can do it. I'm taking Washington to win outright, and I'll take an over as well. I mean, offenses are going to move, but I don't think Tampa has what it takes to get the win. Sean joining us. Sean,
hey buddy, happy New Year.
We're talking.
Going on, fellas. Had an inkling you guys might need to go to the pen here, so we're bringing in the closer.
Go Pen.
But yeah, we're talking Commanders, Buccaneers. We got Bucks are a 3-point home favorite. 50.5 is your over under.
Yeah, obviously a good time to jump in from down here in Tampa Bay. Been listening to nothing but coverage of it for the past 24 hours, and got to watch it with some very nervous Buccaneer faithful out at the local watering hole. There was a lot of concern, and I think there should be. I think Tampa just showed the same weaknesses they've showed in previous weeks. They showed that they are still, very penetrable up the middle on defense. If you can get it over their linebackers, I don't think very many of them can cover anybody. I think if you can get past them with a deep ball, I think they're susceptible to that too. And I think it's pretty much the perfect recipe for guys like Zach Ertz and for a fellow like Terry McLaurin. And I mean, Baker's going to give him a fight. I don't know that Tampa's good enough. I think it's a better draw for them, thanks to the Rams resting everyone. And the Rams getting to draw Minnesota. I think that would have been much harder for them, but it's time for the Jaden Daniels show. Let's take the Commanders here. I think the Commanders are going to win this one outright, probably by about a touchdown. And at 50 or so points, I think both teams put up points. I'll take the over there.
All right, very good. Devin has Tampa and the under on this one. And then we move to Monday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time. No, Mike, who you got for Matt and Kyle?
Matt took the Buccaneers. Kyle took the Commanders.
All right, we go to Monday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN and ABC. It is the number 5 seed, 14-3 Minnesota Vikings. They're a 1.5-point road favorite at the Los Angeles Rams, who are, of course, the 4 seed, 10-7 on the year for LA. 47 is your over/under on this one. Sean, we'll start with you.
I'm sorry, you got me at what's my over/under on this one?
47.
47, man. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the over on this one as well. Let me go ahead and make sure that I have my picks correct on this. Yeah, Vikings Rams. I think this is the most exciting. I don't want to say most exciting matchup of the week. I think there's some more fun ones, but I think as far as hardest to pick, I think deep in my heart of hearts, I think the Rams. I love the Rams. I don't know why. Come this time of year, but I think Sam Darnold shook off a lot of the jitters. He just played in his. Let me see here. Am I on the right game?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vikings Rams.
Okay, yeah. I'm just looking at I'm looking at the comments here. I saw somebody comment Chargers, and I thought I panicked. I thought I had the wrong LA.
Right, Kevin's not confusing people.
He's out here. He's out here throwing me way off. But no, I think Sam showed some jitters in the game against the Lions, and missed a couple wide open receivers. You could tell that maybe the pressure of the big game got to him. He hasn't gotten to play in that many, but maybe that experience and the loss in Detroit is enough to calm him down. I'm going to take him in LA. I'd like them to pay for resting all their starters. So go ahead and give me the Minnesota Vikings in the over.
All right, very good. Mikey B.
Skull.
Well, I'll do it. Give me the Rams. Give me the Rams money line. Give me the Rams to win this football game because of exactly what Sean just said. They rested everybody. Matthew Stafford knows this defense playing in Detroit for as long as he has. Puka's going to be healthy. Cooper's going to be healthy. Kyron Williams will be healthy. And let's be very transparent. We've talked on this show that the Achilles heel of the Detroit Lions all year was going to be the defense without Aiden Hutchinson. That defense just kept this offense to 9 points in a game that could have won them the division and the number 1 seed. If you think the lights were bright in Detroit, Monday Night Football, the only game on the slate in LA, the lights are going to be bright in LA also. I'm going to take the Rams. I'm going to take the quarterback that I trust the most. I'm taking Matthew Stafford to win this football game, and I will take a slight under.
All right.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
All right, EJ.
I mean, 14-3, and all you get is a road trip to LA the first round. I mean, it is what it is, man. And again, this is also they met this year too. Also, Rams won that game as well too, in a great matchup. Again, like the Bucs and the Commanders game, this can go either way. Honestly, both these teams are very talented. Obviously, the better quarterback is on the LA side, Super Bowl champion, former Super Bowl champion Stafford there. But I'm with Sean here in the sense that Sam Darnold, his biggest game of his career was last week. And yeah, he missed receivers and that jitters. Now his biggest game of his career will be this week. And I think he may have shaken all that off last week. I'm just going to go based on a trust factor here. And it's not like LA has a massive home field advantage here. They don't really draw as well. In fact, road teams do draw well in that stadium in comparison.
I would expect to see a lot of purple.
That's what I'm trying to say. So that could be a 60-40 Rams crowd there. It's supposed to like a normal 80 or 90-10 situation. So that being said, I think the Vikings will pull it out. I think they're the better team overall. Even though I agree with what Mike said about the rest, and that does play a factor, but I think Sam Darnold turns around here. I don't know. They've shown us all year long not to trust them, and I'm gonna do it 1 week.
What did Sam Darnold do in the second half of that game?
No. I think what and this you like this too, also, especially you, Jim, being a Lions fan. To me, that's about Detroit. To me, Detroit sold. I was sold on Detroit when that game before that game started. After what they did in San Francisco last week by playing the starters in a game they didn't have to play them.
Yeah,
to me, there's some value to that. There's something valuable to that, to just doing that, staying on the gas. To me, that's more about Detroit. Detroit is just a better team. They're probably the best team in the conference. We'll see more in these weeks to come. So
I don't understand how you say that he cleared the jitters going 18 of 41 for 166 and running for his life the entire night.
I mean, I think Detroit. Look, what other game do you see a 3 4th down, 4th and goals, and you don't get in the end zone? I mean, that's pretty sick. That's Detroit's defense. I'm not saying Sam Darnold didn't play.
That's also great
well.
Play calling by the offensive coordinator in Minnesota too,
right.
Because Aaron Jones only ran for 45 yards.
Right. Right, but I think I don't think LA is as a big a task as say the Lions this time around.
No.
So now look, Mike, I will say this: this is definitely a 50-50 game. I'm not going to say it's like I'm definitive Minnesota win this game. I'm just saying like the last game, it's a vibe thing. I think Minnesota will find a way to win this game. Give me the Vikings win this game and give me definitely the over in this game. If you're going to bet anything on this game,
bet the over.
That is the bet of the week here. So honestly, of all these games this weekend, that's the bet of the week. Bet the over.
We're playing smash or pass.
Sick.
Yeah.
Can't wait to make money on the under. Thanks, Ernest. Thanks
Stop it, Michael. Stop it.
Besides that, like weird anomaly where they beat the Bills 44-42. I just don't see anything that like makes me believe that like the Rams in a neutral site home game are going to beat the Minnesota Vikings. I get the Vikings are coming off like a short-ish week because they had the night game on Sunday night, but I think Kevin O'Connell is going to get them ready. I don't know if this Vikings team is going to make it much further than this, but I like them to cover 1.5, beat the Rams, but I will definitely take the over in that one. Devin has the Chargers in the over for this one, so
bold strategy, Cotton.
That's definitely a bold pick. But maybe it'll happen.
He not only rambled, but he rumbled and stumbled.
I mean, certainly a pick. I know a lot of people.
You know what? Give me the Chargers too. I like this.
I know a lot of people
it's a gutsy play. The odds on that have to be outstanding.
Like I know a lot of people are like, just the other day, like it brought up like what happens if the Chargers and Rams both host the conference championship game.
But this
which like the funny part, and somebody pointed this out as well in this video that I saw, is like the Giants and Jets have shared a stadium for like 40 years, and people are only thinking about this being a scenario with the Rams and Chargers. So that's how everybody feels about New York. But yeah, so that's where we're at.
Before we cut out, Mike, I sent you all my picks, but I didn't give you any over-unders. You need those?
If you want to.
All right, Chargers, Texans, over-under of 42. God, you give me the over there. I think that's enough points. Steelers, Ravens, 44, under. Slight. Broncos, Bills, 47, over. Packers, Eagles, over.
Got it.
Okay, you got those?
Yep. Go, Pack, go. Sorry.
Stop it.
Gotta get out. I gotta get it out. Sean, I haven't seen in a couple weeks, man. I gotta get it out. You know.
All right. So before we go to the power rankings, and as we're going to play it out through the rest of the postseason, we will rank the teams that are still alive for the Super Bowl. So obviously this week we'll do our top 14. But one team, the most likely team from each conference to win the Super Bowl. I'm not asking you to lock in a Super Bowl prediction. But I'm just asking you, sitting here right now, as we have a blank slate, season number 2, as Dan Quinn in Washington has labeled it. We're sitting here, everybody's at 0-0. The most likely team from each conference to win the Super Bowl is blank. EJ, we'll start with the AFC. We'll get your most obvious pick out of the way first.
Because even though this is not my pick to win the Super Bowl, because they have all the advantages of home field and the officials and just everything in general, the media kissing their ass.
Homer.
The Chiefs, definitely.
Homer.
Mikey.
I mean, this should probably pain me to say it, but it's not going to pay me to say it because I'm never fucking picking the team that Ernest picked, so fuck them. I will take my own division rival. I will take the Baltimore Ravens because I think they have the best offense, top to bottom, left in the AFC.
That is my pick, though, to win the Super Bowl, for the record.
All right,
Sean.
Well,
grow a set and fucking pick them then.
Sean.
Yeah, I think right off the top of the head, I mean, like I want to go with Mike here. I want to go with Baltimore, and I want to go with the offense and the first team to ever throw for 4,000 and rush for 3,000 in the same season. I just feel that they're inconsistent on defense. I feel that there's some inconsistencies there, and whether my favorite point differential does not go with this pick. It's playoff time. There's a bye week, and Big Red's on the sideline. And push comes to shove, they've been in close games the whole way through, and there's one guy I want in control when there's a close game, and they got him. And you got Hollywood Brown now. They seem to be using Worthy more creatively. I think the Chiefs, to me, unfortunately, again, are the AFC favorite, but not by as much as some years in the past.
I agree.
To me, it's Baltimore. They made an adjustment on the defensive side of the ball in November. They've been much better and much more consistent defensively since then. Their offense is clicking. Their offense is healthy. Lamar seems healthier because he has, I don't know, that Derrick Henry guy who seemingly
he's pretty good.
Getting some rushes that Lamar doesn't have to take those hits. So, yeah, I think those are going to be the difference. I think Ravens are your most likely AFC team to win the
Is
Super
that
Bowl.
because they have Isaiah? Likely.
All right. Now we go to the NFC. EJ, who is the most likely?
Sorry. He's a Coastal Carolina Chanticleer. I'm always gonna prop him up. So
he's not wrong. He's not wrong with that.
EJ, who is your most likely NFC team to win?
It's going to pay me to say this because it's going to work out in their favor based on two things. One team has a lot of injuries that they have to overcome, and this team has probably the easiest path right now of the teams. I have the Eagles.
Don't they reseed?
Oh crap!
No, they reseed in the NFL.
Yeah, the NFL reseed.
So but even so, they wouldn't play. They wouldn't play Detroit to the conference. No. Even so, Philadelphia.
They wouldn't play Detroit until the end.
You would go into Detroit in the NFC title.
Right, but even then, though, Detroit's injuries is it can they keep that team full of duct tape for another 3 weeks? I hope they can, but
they don't play this week.
Right, but Philadelphia is probably still on level or close to. I mean, Philadelphia for me, unfortunately.
All right, Mikey.
That's the last thing I wanted to hear, EJ.
Well, you shut your mouth,
in any way, shape, or
Sean
form.
Patrick. You calm down.
I mean, I'm not ever gonna align with Ernest, so let's be very transparent about that. I'll take duct tape and super glue, I guess, because I mean, at the end of the day, they got the coach that I'm ready to run through a wall for, and I don't even fucking play for him. Let's be very transparent here. They're getting back Alex Anzalone last week. David Montgomery is going to play in a playoff game. Already been announced. Aiden Hutchinson will be back. So the questions that you have about holding it together with duct tape and super glue, guess what? Duct tape and super glue didn't lose him the division. It didn't lose him the number one seed in the NFC that everybody thought was gone the minute that Aiden Hutchinson blew out his knee. They've made it work. Dan Campbell, believe in him. If not, he'll bite your fucking kneecaps. Give me the lines.
Michael,
all right, Sean.
Method of madness.
This time of year, as much as I love in the AFC going with the coach on the sidelines and the QB at the helm, the one other thing that I think is super important at this time of year, obviously, what wins championships? Defense. And if you want to know who's got the number one defense in the NFL right now and over the course of the season, it is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Homer.
You can go ahead and hit it because I'm about to just run right
through it.
Not only do we have the number one ranked defense, we have a 2,000-yard rusher to take some of the pressure off Jalen Hurts. He has not had in past runs. And if you go top to bottom in the roster, yeah, especially with the injuries, but I think even when everyone's healthy, the Eagles have a deeper team. I mean, our third string players just beat an NFL franchise, all but the worst. But we did it. Yeah, props to your New York Giants for almost beating our cheerleading squad. All right, like
that's pretty sad, right?
It was like as much as that was like, oh look, Philly took care of business and didn't have to. It was like the Giants could have just won a football game, like just to win one, and they were like, nah, we don't want to do that. So yeah, I'm gonna take top to bottom roster. I'm gonna take the league's best defense. I'm gonna take Saquon Barkley to put this team on his shoulders, and I think the Philadelphia Eagles have a slight advantage.
God, I hope we're wrong, Sean. I hope we're wrong.
Well, Death Taxes and EJ's wrong. Give me the Detroit
Thank
Lions.
you. Yes.
That's your most likely team out of the NFC. Devin has Lions and Chiefs.
So is that the fifth thing? That's for sure.
I have EJ, but the Lions have Devin. That's not good for either team.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So is Ernest being wrong just the fifth thing that's for sure in life? Because we figured out what the fourth one was earlier in the episode.
Yeah, you did say fourth one.
We did. Possibly.
All right, so it's fringe. So when the under hits in the Rams game and the Eagles don't make it out of the NFC, then it'll be for sure the fifth thing.
I pray to God that they lose.
Got it. Just want to make sure.
All right, but as we've reached the points, as we do.
Oh God, not again.
It's been a few weeks.
I know. I'm a little rusty here, buddy.
You and Russell Wilson.
Calm down.
Rusty is dusty. He played like crap. Like crap.
Where are you, Kyle? Bastard.
We do miss Kyle dancing. But no bottom fives. No bottom fives on the ranking anymore. Those teams are dead. We don't have to make fun of them anymore.
Giants are 37th.
Bye Jaguars. Bye Titans.
Bye. Pour one out for those teams. They are dead and gone. So of course this week, looking at the top 14 in the NFL, the 14 teams that have qualified for the postseason. EJ, give us your 14 from 14 to 1.
All right, so 14 to 1. Here we go. Number 14, the Texans. Number 13, the Buccaneers. 12, Broncos. 11, Steelers. 10, Packers. 9, Commandos. 8, Rams. 7, Chargers. 6, Vikings. 5, Eagles. 4, Bills. 3, Ravens. 2, Lions. 1, Chiefs.
All right, so before we I have the rest of our picks. I'll pull them up in a minute. Let's start on the 8 to 14 side. Any
pluck away?
Any thoughts on EJ's 8 to 14?
Pluck away, Michael.
How is Krusty, Dusty, Rusty, and Bo Nix ahead of the Buccaneers?
Honestly, I don't make a great case for that.
I mean, I could probably make.
I mean, the only thing I guess the one thing I will agree with you on is the fact that Steelers have the harder matchup between them. Yeah, I guess your point there, because Tampa has the easier matchup of the 3 teams going into the weekend.
I'm saying I'm not looking at the matchups.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at the roster.
Look at the roster and
right.
Because I have the Texans at 13. I have the Broncos at 14 just because rookie quarterback that hasn't looked good the last 3 weeks of the regular season. I get it. He put up a shit ton of points against me, you, Sean, and Jim playing in the secondary, backing up the Kansas City Chiefs this past week. But I mean, didn't look good against Cincinnati. Looked okay the week before. I mean, at this point, Baker Mayfield will at least sling the football. The running game with Bucky Irving, I trust more than I do.
Well, I will say Baker did not look great this week.
No, not at all. Not at all.
When push came to shove, he picked up some key first downs, but
yeah.
But man, he struggled against the Saints.
I mean, I'll say this: I do have the Steelers run above the Bucks in my list, but I have the Steelers and the Bucks higher than EJ does, for the record. Because I mean, like, here's the thing: like with the Steelers, like if like George Pickens decides not to be a douchebag and the defense plays better and Russell Wilson doesn't make bad mistakes, the Steelers have a good team.
Of course,
it's just they haven't been playing like.
Substantial list though. That was 3-4 things.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Sean on that one. It's if this and this go right, they could be the 7th best team in the NFL.
I mean, they were there a month ago.
They have a great defense. The Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, me having them higher is more about the teams that I have them.
You know what? Number 11, TJ Watt. I mean, really, that's what
I think I have the Steelers lower than EJ. I have them lower.
Who?
I have the Steelers. I have the Steelers at 11. I have.
Oh, okay.
I have Tampa higher. I have Tampa higher.
Yeah,
I have Tampa in my top 8. So
no, Mike. Honestly, I probably look in hindsight. I might switch 12 to 13. Honestly, in hindsight.
No, I mean that's fine. I'm just saying Bo Nix hasn't looked great. The running game there is not as refined as what Tampa Bay is going to put out there. From a defensive perspective, I think those teams are comparable. I think they're pretty average on where they stand with each other. It's just I don't honestly, the way that Pittsburgh's been playing, I don't know how you have them. I mean, I have them at 11, and it was simply because I couldn't find a way to put the Broncos, Texans, or Rams ahead of them.
Right. Yeah, and not only that, for me, I guess to the Bucks more than anything else, divisional optics aside in that game against the Saints, that was a fucking grind.
Am I crazy in remembering that EJ was like been on the Packers wagon all year?
We went over that early in the show.
Yes,
10
he's got him sitting at 10th best.
Yeah, we went over the show.
They're too high. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
I mean, I have them at 9, but
I have them quite high, and it just I couldn't even tell you why. I have two big switches when my list shows up that I gotta make.
All
I
right.
don't like when I see Green Bay
I submitted
coming to
them
the
too early,
playoffs. That's why I'm lower.
I guess my other question is
Chargers
this.
would be my question on
I'll let
this
you
one
go, Sean.
is
we're
what
not there yet though. We're not there yet on the on that side of the bracket.
No, yeah. I mean, I don't have anything else.
14. I like those.
I'll say I don't have
Okay.
anything else on the right side, Mike. do
Okay.
you?
Okay.
No, I think 8 through 14 you could kind of rank them however you want.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that's
just
kind of a
switch,
tier. That's
kind of
a
switch,
box
kind
tier,
of switch some pieces here or there, and I think you're
Yeah, I
okay.
mean, right
To do-
after
to do
7
bottom
is-
5.
like where right after number 7, and I have the same 7 teams in my top
So do I.
7.
So do
Like
I.
that's where I drew the line. Like it's the top 7 and the bottom 7, really. So yeah, let's look at the left
I
side.
have
Sean,
in
you were going to make a point about the Chargers.
Oh, I was just curious what if you guys all have them in the 7, maybe it's something anyone can answer is where, because I don't have the Commanders in my top 7, but I do have the Packers in. I thought kind of that middle, like after the Vikings, where it's like Chargers, Rams, Commanders, Packers. Of those 4, why were the Chargers like the cream of that 4?
I have the Chargers at 7. I have the Packers at 9, and it's simply because of the loss of Christian Watson and the unknown if Jordan Love's hand is actually going to get feeling back to it. I think I have some just concerns about them from a health perspective that I technically really don't have about the Chargers right now.
Which is wild to say, by the way.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You look at the last couple of years.
That team's walked and crawled to the finish line, and randomly this year it's not as bad from the injury perspective. I think that's I have Green Bay a little bit lower simply because of I don't necessarily know that Jordan Love is going to play in this football game.
Yeah, I mean, I have the Packers much lower. You'll see it when I put it up, but I have the Chargers at 7, and I have them there because they're healthy. They're clicking on both sides of the ball, and two things that are going to help determine success in the postseason, and that's coaching and defense. And the Chargers really kind of have that solid on both fronts. So I'm not sitting here saying they're going to be a Super Bowl contender, but I think they are a dangerous team. In the AFC, even playing against teams like Kansas City, who they've played close twice this year.
Absolutely, as I said, dark horse of the AFC right there.
Yeah, so there's danger. So I think that they have a lot of potential, like the danger potential for other teams here.
Well, I would agree. I think if you guys are right, I think that's a very bold step. If you guys are right that the Chargers are sitting up here approaching the Vikings, Eagles, Bills territory, that they should be very dangerous in the AFC, because when I was building the bottom half, I started being concerned with my list because it was just AFC,
Right.
and I was like, well, these are clearly the worst teams. I'm like, there's no NFC teams in this list, and I had to kind of fight to find the cream of the AFC and kind of throw them in there. We spent so long going Chiefs for the past few years, and Bills, and maybe even throw the Ravens in there. These other teams in the playoffs in the AFC aren't quite the not quite the disparity in the AFC that we have in the NFC. So that was interesting. But I think you're right.
You missed it earlier too. I said the Chargers are the team in the AFC bracket that can fuck shit up. They're my fuck shit up team of this bracket that they can. They're going to be Houston this weekend. I look.
Well, there goes the Chargers' hopes.
I ain't gonna say that.
There it is.
And then they're going to likely draw Kansas City in the second round of playoffs, and there's familiarity there. Okay, so
and like we said earlier in the year, the Chargers game was a game a lot of us had circled as a potential Chiefs loss, because I think the Chargers and Harbaugh built this team to compete with Kansas City.
Right.
But they had just lost J.K. Dobbins.
Correct.
They had some injuries on defense, and some of us were concerned we didn't quite pull that trigger, and it turned out rightly so. But
they recovered.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'll be a fun matchup in the second round.
I mean, the Chiefs have beaten the Chargers by a total of 9 points this year.
Yeah, well, they've beaten the whole league by a total of 12 points. So
right, that's true. Here I'll pull up the full list. And here's where mine is, and I know we were off for a couple of weeks, but my top 5 have not changed since the last time we were together.
Okay.
Lions,
neither
Bills,
is mine.
Yeah, Lions, Bills, Chiefs, Eagles, sans a Chiefs second squad that lost this past weekend. Those top 5 teams, the Ravens at 5, those teams haven't lost. So they're not moving. No, you're locked in there. Part of me thinks the Ravens could be higher, but I'm not going to punish the other teams around them when they're winning as well.
Sorry, I did make one change. I moved the Eagles up to 4 and the Vikings down to 5 after that performance this week against the Lions. But the 5 has been locked in.
My list, the only edit that I had after sending it was I was looking, and I had like the Bills are, to me, felt like I was looking at statistics and I was looking at the last few weeks, and I don't like the Bills defense as much as I used to. And Josh Allen has it's felt dominant, but when I really look at his numbers, despite a lack of turnovers, it's not quite as dominant as I thought it was. And I don't know. They have home games for a while, so that helps. But I had them at like the top of tier 2. I felt like I had my top 3. They were locked in. I do feel like I wanted to bump the Lions to 3 for just argument's sake, and that's kind of why I went with the run I did in the last segment. Is I like the Chiefs and the Eagles here from a roster perspective too. But those 3 to me are interchangeable.
Let me ask Mike a question.
Yeah,
Buffalo at 1. Mike, sell me on that.
Yeah, what do you like about Buffalo?
They score. They play good defense. I don't know. They don't turn the football over. They do things in the playoffs that you have to do to win playoff games. I'm sorry. At this point, the Kansas City Chiefs, they don't do anything for me. I trust Buffalo and Josh Allen more than I do anybody on that Chiefs offense not named Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you tell me they have Hollywood Brown. Cool. That guy's played 4 snaps. You tell me they have the shell of DeAndre Hopkins. That's cool. That guy didn't really play that well when he got traded from Tennessee. They're getting production out of Khalil Shakir. They're getting production out of all of the running backs that they're putting out on the field. I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to have to win bad football games. And if there's a team that I think is built to win a bad football game, it's the Bills. And
to your credit too, also they beat your number 2 and number 3 also this year. So that play.
Yeah, I mean, I also look at it. I mean, personally, I have the team that I actually picked in the last segment in the AFC is number 6, and that's more shocking, I think, than the team that I have at number 1 personally. And the reason why is because I think when you look at Baltimore, if they come out and do what I said they're going to do against Pittsburgh, I don't know that Buffalo can keep up with them. But going into the playoffs, I trust Buffalo to win a bad football game. A 13-10 game where Josh Allen has 45 carries and James Cook has 40 carries himself, and they hold the ball for basically the entire second half. That team's built to do that. Some of these other teams that are going to win with run games and defenses are not in this playoff.
Yeah.
I don't beat the Bills at 1, by the way.
No, people didn't step past the fence on this argument, but I like how you sold that. That's I can agree more. I'm looking at the rest of this list.
I was gonna say, what did the Chiefs do to be number 1 on your list? And then I remembered that it's Patrick Mahomes.
Hold on, I got you. You did.
Who do you trust? Hubba, hubba, hubba.
There's that. There's that. But it's also, but I have to say too, also to their credit as well. Sans the Denver game, of course, no one played. They have played much better as a team the last couple of weeks prior to the playoffs. So they're actually playing their best football right now going in with the starting unit. So to me, that's what, because remember, they were not number 1 for a while on my list.
I mean,
so
are they really playing that good of football?
Well, they dominated Pittsburgh on week. Was it week?
No, but you said you like Buffalo because they can win an ugly game. That's what the Chiefs have done all year. They games and they win them.
They destroyed Buffalo. Oh, that's right. Destroyed Pittsburgh without Chris Jones. On top of that, too, also
we talked about a Pittsburgh problem though in this show earlier in the show.
I'll give you the Steelers win. That is the Chiefs. That's probably their best win on their schedule.
Right. They played well
all year.
Last couple
that 8-point win over Houston, 14 over Cleveland. the 2-point lucky doink over the Chargers.
Their best win is still probably week 1 against Baltimore.
I mean, overall, yeah, probably.
Correct.
By virtue of,
but their best win in their last since week 12, which they went since the Buffalo loss, like a 3-point win against Carolina, a 2-point win against Vegas, a 2-point win against the Chargers, 14 against Cleveland. Like, sure, on paper the offense looks like it's playing better, but I mean, they're not doing anything that says from a statistical standpoint that they're like clicking on all cylinders. Like, there still feels like there's pieces that are missing.
If I knew the officials wouldn't be so heavy-handed with them, I probably take the field. But you have to bake. But here's the thing, though. We've seen this like the last couple of years. You got to bake that into also. The officials are gonna lean heavy towards Mahomes and company.
I mean,
just do that.
I mean, at that point, then that's an NFL problem. I'm talking.
Yeah, that's not where they sit in a power rank.
No, that's the problem. Because if you're going to say that, then the fact that any of us on this show had the Kansas City Chiefs outside of number 1 all season means we don't know what the fuck we're talking about. Let's be let's stop the bullshit. Because they got bailed out on a couple games this year because of penalties that don't exist to any other of the 30 NFL teams. But what I'm saying is the offense looks better, and I'm not disagreeing that the first team offense does look better than it did in the middle half of the season. Because the first 2 weeks of the season, the offense looked just fine against Baltimore and Cincinnati.
Right.
They found a way to win games that they were behind in. They survived. They got to 2-0. Then the schedule opened up, and then, of course, the loss to Buffalo that offense did not look good in.
Yeah.
And the thing is since that game, the piece that they've added is Isaiah Pacheco coming off of injured reserve and Hollywood Brown. I'm sorry, Hollywood Brown does not move the that much for me.
I can see that.
Now, if you're gonna sell me, it's they're using Xavier Worthy in a different way.
Well, that's just it. Hollywood Brown was just an example. Like Hollywood Brown. First of all, your 4 snaps, Hollywood Brown caught 4 passes on 7 targets in that game, and was the team's 3rd leading receiver. But the big thing for me was Xavier Worthy was the 2nd leading receiver in that game. And what's surprising is Travis Kelce isn't the presumable one every week. He's just not. They're using him in spots and things like that, and obviously they're gonna try to heave it at him when they can. But I think the emergence of Xavier Worthy and kind of the gadget possibilities with him. I know Andy Reid likes to have fun sometimes with those things. I think there's the speed of Hollywood Brown with the speed of Xavier Worthy, with the effectiveness of Travis Kelce, with a healthy Pacheco. I think it's a convenient time for that to all come healthy because you don't really know what Andy Reid's going to do with all of them on the field. And he hasn't had to show anyone at this point. So I think that kind of element of surprise from Andy's also another piece.
No, and then that I get that, but I guess I'm not sold on their run game.
Well, and like I said, I think I probably would shift the Chiefs. I don't know where my Lions, Chiefs, Eagles are. I kind of want the Lions at 3 just to sell my last point, but I just think the Chiefs belong in that top echelon. I don't.
Yeah, I don't see them as a 1. I don't think they haven't convinced me as a 1 since about week 3 of the season. But when I said, "Hey guys, send me your list," I knew where the EJ was going to have them. EJ having the Chiefs at 1 going into the playoffs was the least shocking thing of any of our picks.
I would agree with that assessment.
Any other thoughts on the rankings?
So the Packers at 13 is because blank.
Ooh, yeah, I just noticed that. Shit.
Well, first off, your number 1 receiver dead. Your quarterback.
But that happens every week.
Your quarterback may or may not have feeling in his hands. And honestly, if you look over the Packers schedule, and when I'm making my list, and I looked, I was going to have them in my 11 to 14 anyway. But when you look over the closing portion of this season, lost to the Bears, lost to the Vikings. Oh, cool. You beat the Saints really big, and then you beat the Seahawks, who aren't good. You lost to the Lions. You beat the Dolphins, who stink. You beat the Niners, who stink. You beat the Bears, who stink. Then you go back to a loss to the Lions. And wait, holy crap! I'm through the halfway point of the season. Now I'm at a close win over the Jaguars, a close win over the Texans. win over the Cardinals. Like the Packers haven't beaten anybody.
That's very true. That's very true.
Like these, like the teams that they have lost to, their 6 losses are 5 good teams in the Chicago Bears.
And Jim, to your point, you noticed this year too, when I made my whole like proclamation back week 4 or week 3 was with the Packers, every week since that I've kind of backed off little by little for that same reason. You know what I mean? They're not playing anybody. And in the games they're winning against bad teams, they're barely winning them. You know what I mean? So
what you're telling me is the 2024 Green Bay Packers are the 2024 Texas Longhorns.
Kind of.
Yeah. That's a great analogy. Yes.
The Packers' best win that I'm looking at on their schedule came game 5, a 24-19 win over the Rams.
Texas A&M.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so you have a team that, you know, is a paper champion to begin with, and then you take away one of their best weapons and possibly their quarterback. Nope, sorry, bud. Dead in the water. Have fun. Here's your consolation prize.
And it's not like they didn't have opportunities to change the narrative because they had some games to prove themselves against the Vikings, loss. You know, against other teams that, you know, Detroit, loss. So, yeah, this is why. And you notice, as I said, Jim, I every week I start backing off on that because, like, maybe not. So
is that so? I guess let me ask this question then, and then we can wrap up the Packers talk here. Is that a Matt LaFleur problem, or is that a we need to go get a number 1 wide receiver?
Here's the thing: like I brought up the Todd Bowles, I brought up Mike Tomlin. Matt LaFleur is 3-4, soon to be 3-5 in postseason play. Okay, like again, regular season's cool. You had one losing season in 7 years, but you're now going to be 3-5 in the postseason, and you know he won't get fired.
No,
right. But you're going to go into next season with a hot seat on your hands.
You also spent all that money. You also spent money on bringing Josh Jacobs in and cutting AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones, and like Josh Jacobs isn't having any better of a season than Aaron Jones is.
Here's the deal. Another reason that the hot seat's going to get hotter there. Minnesota Vikings are on an upward trajectory. The Detroit Lions, you know, let's revisit this in a month, potentially sitting on top of the NFL. They're at least sitting on top of the division for 2 years in a row. And the Chicago Bears, depending what they do on the coaching front, could be at least on an upswing, especially if one of the heavy names being rumored around there, Pete Carroll. Like the field in your division is not going to get easier. The calls are going to get louder for Matt LaFleur.
Right, but I don't think I'll sell my stock on the Packers. I think overall, there's also timing too. Also with this,
of course you won't. You have your fence sitting and your green toes.
Look, they're a good team. They are who we thought they'd be. They're an 11-win team.
But you know, here's the deal: the fact that, and Sean made the point whenever we talked about Christian Watson getting hurt. Oh, their number 1 receiver went down. Their number 1 receiver this week.
Yeah, well, I've said it all year about the Packers. They don't have a number 1 wide receiver.
They don't.
No, they don't.
They have 4 number 2s. They have 4 number 2s. And to be honest, whenever Watson's out, which is every 2 out of every 3 weeks, we see an emergence of one of the other guys, and you get to see. And Romeo Doubs, to me, is pound for pound the most talented receiver they have. I think he has the best hands of the 4. I think he runs a great deep ball. But he can be like, he's more versatile in his ability to go over the middle and do a deep ball. I think he's their best receiver, and he gets utilized more when Christian Watson's not playing. So I think that's a detriment to my squad. Obviously, if he does super well, it means my guys aren't doing their job. But he's also got a heck of a battle in front of him this week. That's for sure.
So if you're the Packers, are you saying, okay, we lose to Philadelphia, we're in the Tyreek Hill?
I was just gonna say that. T.
Higgins.
Tyreek Hill doesn't want to play in that weather.
No, I think Tyreek Hill is going to the Chargers, but that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that in an offseason episode.
Oh my God.
Jared Pan.
But I mean, I think like if you're the Packers, like you have to go get a number 1. Like at this point, if you're telling me Jordan Love is the quarterback of this team moving forward, and you're not in the we might make a change at quarterback.
Well, and I think if the Packers go out early, they might. If the Packers go out early in the playoffs and are kind of at that like top draft spot of the playoff teams, like they may use some capital. They're not a team that typically does it, historically, but but there's going to be some wide receiver talent in that like 10 to 15 range. You might see him move up a few spots to find one, but I don't. I think it'll be kind of wait and see who's available and who's not signed, but it's definitely a focal point for them. It has to be.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right, let's close that up. And as we do to close out the show, we look up towards the week ahead of us, and we look at things that will happen this upcoming week.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
All right, EJ, we'll start with you, and don't be lame. What will happen this upcoming week?
Hope this isn't lame for you, Jim. But my lock of the week is that the Dallas Cowboys and Mike McCarthy will do a new contract, 3-year deal.
Oh yeah, that's easy. They denied him from talking to the Bears. He's going to be coming back, and like honest to God, it really doesn't bother me because McCarthy's not the problem.
No,
he isn't.
I agree.
Like he's been there 5 years. In the 3 years that Dak Prescott hasn't gotten hurt, they've won 12 games each season. Now they've got their doors blown off of them in the postseason in the second round, but that's happened literally for 30 years. Jerry Jones is the problem. Jerry Jones ain't going nowhere. Jerry Jones very adamant this past weekend that he's not giving up his GM role. So I have no problems with bringing Mike McCarthy back. I really don't.
No, and to me, when I said Mike McCarthy will not return prior to this last couple of weeks was more so the fact that I think the Cowboys will let him go. But no, he's done a good enough job there.
And here's for what it's worth, man. I think his players really do like him. I really do. When you see like when especially even in some of those late games this season when the playoffs were already gone and they won, the players were happy. Like the players, I think they do have a good relationship with him. So I've seen Cowboys coaches that the players don't get along with. So I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine with it. Mikey, what is going to happen this upcoming week?
I was trying to find if there was another coach that we could think of that was going to be relieved of his duties after Antonio Pierce was earlier today, but
holy hell.
I don't know that I can actually find one looking at this, so I don't think I can go that route. I went the crazy route of saying that the Rams were going to beat the Minnesota Vikings in our picks. I don't think I can really lock into that one since I've already kind of spoiled that one. You know what? Let's just throw the dart at the board here, and the national title game will be the Notre Dame Fighting Irish taking on the Texas Longhorns.
What are you doing to me, Mike?
Ooh, okay. All right. Sean, what will happen this upcoming week?
Well, I'm just going to go with it because I'm on the clock now. I didn't get to talk about college football with you guys, but my lock it up statement is that there is not one but two disappointments in the Big Ten this week, and the national championship game will be Notre Dame and the Texas Longhorns.
Lock it up.
Dang. Double dose of lock it up. You locked that one up twice.
Lock it up. Lock it up.
And Notre Dame, Penn State, that 1 point spread that I'm looking at on my app right now, Notre Dame by 1.5 is insulting.
I'm gonna bet that up to like 4.5.
Oh my god!
I mean,
I don't bet on my own team, so I can't do it myself. But
I get it.
I mean, I'm okay with it because I think it's you don't want to come in overconfident with a head of steam. But man,
right.
I think they're. Gonna
unfortunately, we've seen what happens when Notre Dame gets overconfident.
Yeah, but I think they leave with one.
Like that was the crazy part. Like when I was looking over like Marcus Freeman's like over his tenure. It's year 3. I don't count the bowl game when he took over when Brian Kelly left, because that's kind of an anomaly. But in 3 seasons, Marcus Freeman has eight losses. 4 have been to like ranked teams. 4 have been to unranked teams. Not only unranked teams, you have lost to G5 Marshall. You have lost to G5 Northern Illinois. You lost to like a 3-9 Stanford team.
Yeah,
like some of the losses there have just been like baffling. So it's like the games he win, and he's like what now 7-3 against ranked opponents or something. Like it's weird. Like that he when overconfident, underprepared for it's really a weird situation. So I'm actually fine if there's quote unquote disrespect in that gambling line for the Notre Dame Penn State game. That's fine by me. Mine for this weekend, and I was very careful to not actually like pick winners. I think I just picked covers. But I think 4 of the 6 NFL division champions that are playing this weekend will lose.
Lock it up.
All right, so that's Tampa Bay, Houston,
definitely. Philadelphia, hopefully.
Rams. And the 4th one will be a wild card.
Yeah. Fourth one really will be a surprising upset. You can guess where I hope that is.
Stop it.
Let's go, Steelers.
I was gonna say you shut your mouth.
That's
go
Gross.
Pack, gross.
Go
out of your system.
Go Pack. Go.
I hear Mike just
I threw him through that
after the show. All right, that's where we're gonna close it up for the week. Our first live show of the season, and didn't start great with my whole system freezing up, but thank you to EJ and Mike for guiding the ship there, at least while the captain got it back online. But Sean, let them know where they can follow you, bud.
Yeah, you can follow me on the Twitter at Sean Shine State, and kind of follow my kind of memery and ramblings there, and keep tabs on things. Maybe Devin, don't worry. Maybe I'll share some Tyreek Hill material for you this week. I see you're upset we didn't cover him. He's covered himself plenty. But hit me up on Twitter, and we'll see you. We'll see you at the end of this week's games.
Mikey B.
You can follow me on Twitter at They Call Me Burn. You can listen to me talk about professional wrestling live now on the Facebook, on the YouTube, and on the Twitch.
Well, YouTube and Twitch. Facebook, there's still a
they're still being fluky.
Yeah.
Jerks. You can listen to us talk professional wrestling on the Take 3 Wrestling podcast live tomorrow night because we're being preempted by the Notre Dame Fighting Irish game.
Again.
Oh, that's right.
We will be live tomorrow. Also live tomorrow, you can catch me on the Studio of the Game Report with the SOTG Kyle Nash. You can find all of his stuff over on his link tree at the SOTG on all social medias. We talk postseason awards. We did the midseason awards. We will talk about the conclusion of the season. We'll talk about Black Monday as we go over the coaching openings on the Student of the Game Report tomorrow. You can also listen to me talk about professional me being a husband, professional husbanding on the new podcast that myself and my wife just dropped, 24 Hours to Burn. It is on Spotify.
Like that.
It's on Spotify. We started off with a Pixar movie draft. We had a lot of fun with that. So listen to that. That's on Spotify. I shared it on my story earlier today. It's a fun listen. We're going to get some guests on there because we're going to do some fun stuff with other couples and Disney fans and stuff like that. So Jim, check your text messages. Ernest, you as well. Sean, I'll get you on there to talk Philadelphia because, well, no, Carol's a big Eagles fan too. So I could get him on there. I could just let them rant on about Philly for an hour or so. So that's all I got. I appreciate you guys as always. I appreciate everyone who has stuck with us. Shout out to Dollar Beers and Dogs for filling in for us because
thanks Andrew.
Work sucked for me and everything.
Yeah, holidays.
That was holidays. So
a couple of weeks.
Thanks to him for filling in. 2 great episodes with them. And guys, we're coming up at something that I didn't know that I'd say 4 months ago, but holy fuck, we're almost done with the season.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Seriously. EJ.
Mike, how many podcasts you got now, dude? Jesus.
That I do on a weekly basis 4.
I'm here cutting back now. You're like fucking be like, wow.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I can normally, when I'm done with this until we do the pre-recorded episodes that we do over the summer, I can do a lot of my episodes with Carol on Tuesdays because I'm off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Right.
So Tuesdays is Huddle Up. Wednesdays I can do mine with Carol. Thursday I can do Take 3 with Jim, and then sunny days I can do on another night whenever I have nothing going on. So it's not like I have. It's really not that bad whenever I can actually map it out. Plus Carol's working during the day. If I need to do sunny days, I can do it Wednesday afternoon after I wake up and take Jackson to school. So I kind of got this fairly mapped out.
Yeah. I totally relate to it. Trust me, I do. All right. For me, Earth Week Podcast, all podcast catchers. It's there. YouTube page, youtube.com/Ernest Christian. TikTok, we like TikTok at Ernest Christian on TikTok. And I'm on Twitter, Blue Sky at EachChristian7. That's all I got for you guys. Happy New Year, as always. Coming to next week.
Yeah, you can follow me at Big Jim Sports on Blue Sky. But most importantly, make sure you are following along with the show. We're at Huddle Up Podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Blue Sky, Twitter, TikTok, at least while it's still around. We're at Huddle Up Podcast. You can get us on Instagram at Huddle Up Podcast Inc. You can get us on Twitch at Huddle Up Inc. Make sure you grab your merchandise over on our TeePublic store. We're on all podcast platforms as well. So make sure you subscribe where you can. You rate and review where you can. You tell everybody about us as much as you can. Even though the season is winding down, we will still have our off-season program, which will get episodes out periodically during the off-season. So appreciate your support as always. So we have a couple more weeks left. Enjoy the games this week. And until next Tuesday night, stay safe, stay smart, and as always, go for the win.